Override Mech City Brawl is a mech fighting video game developed by The Balance Inc. and published by Modius Games. And we are the NewsPaperLads.
Hello. Hi.
I hate that so much, that's unnecessary. Alright, so today is the conversation about the game we've been playing a whole bunch, which is Override. Me and my friend here have played the game for a good few hours, and we decided to make a good review on it. I personally have played the campaign, so I'll state my opinion on that.
I just started the campaign.
Yeah, you just started it. We played a lot of multiplayer, we did one-on-ones a lot.
I lost most of it.
Yeah, because, quite frankly, if you just don't know certain sets of the skills, especially when it comes to characters.
Well, you used Maestro a lot.
I use Contessa a lot. The witch lady. She's very fun. So, the roster, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the roster.
No, not at all.
I, quite frankly, was surprised there was that many.
What is there, like 16?
I don't know the exact number, but it's more than 10.
I think there's 16 different ones.
Never mind, it's 16. Anywho.
I don't like that there's 4 of them that you can't get right off the start.
Yeah, well, they're DLC locked, I believe.
Yeah, but that just means it's kind of like a pay to win.
There's the note guy, Maestro. The Spartan.
Isn't it Vidar?
Yeah. No, Vidar is normal. You can get, he's the deer dude, I think. You'll be fine with him. Anywho, one of the reasons I say this is because that leads to weapons that they're really overpowered.
It kind of feels like a pay to win.
It kind of feels like a pay to win, but the DLCs are incredibly cheap, and like you just get all the skins, I believe, or I think you might have to earn the skins.
I mean, but you got to think, some people don't want to buy to play some of the characters.
Right. I really wish they did an ESC where if you just played the campaign enough, you could unlock them and maybe have some little story.
Like you get tokens to unlock the characters.
Yeah, or face them as like a secret boss battle and like kind of like do like, you know, Smash Bros. And like find it once in a while, right? Like a new challenger, and it's like a corrupted. Have you found corrupted mechs yet?
No.
Okay, so in the campaign, spoilers, you find corrupted mechs, and therefore you face the other opponents other than just monsters. So they could have easily tied that in with you find the corrupted mechs of these other fighters.
And you like save them, and then you unlock the character?
They're just like, hey, you can borrow my mech anytime, and you unlock it for multiplayer and local.
Well, this did come out back in 2018, so...
Yeah, so that brings me on to another topic, which is the second one of Ride 2. You know probably nothing about it, maybe?
I don't know too much about it.
I do, but I'll voice it in a little bit. But let's continue on Override itself. Campaign was decent. It's kind of just a smash 'em up, beat 'em up. You get to play the characters. Each different character, in order to unlock lock its skins, or unlock every skin for that character, you get to play as the mechs through each playthrough. That means you have to play as every single mech through every single mission, I believe.
So you have to do the campaign 16 different times if you want each skin?
Essentially, and there is story for if you actually buy the DLC. I remember playing as one of the DLC characters through the campaign, and you get to meet their actual character, like how each mech is actually driven by certain people. The Spartan lady, from what I remember from the campaign, she's a retired fighter, and she's just like, fuck, I have to deal with this, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense, but I feel like it's kind of stupid that we have to do the campaign 16 different times just to get your story.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to, but it's encouraged if you want each different like skin and character and
storyline. You get the
storyline.
infected skin if you do it.
And if you're somebody who likes to 100% complete it, I feel like it would just get very repetitive over time, and the storyline wouldn't change too much. Am I right?
No, it's kind of... I'm not sure if the storyline will ever change. Also, the final boss is a DLC character. It's Mirai. Just a more winged dude. He seems pretty cool. Let's actually go to the base characters instead of the DLC ones. Most of them are unique.
They are. They all have different.
They all have different abilities. They all have different things.
And they all have different counters.
Yeah, they all have different counters. But the problem is, though, if I play a certain character, I can just spam an attack and kill you with one skill.
It's kind of like Smash Bros. In it, for instance, like a down B.
Yeah, but Smash Bros. You can actually counter certain things and
actually
actually outplay them. In this case, if I stun lock you and you don't learn from your mistakes, especially if you don't know countering, which is pretty... I wouldn't say difficult.
Countering is very timing based.
It's very time based, so you have to be very skilled at doing that. And this isn't like a critique towards it, it's just constructive criticism on, hey, I really think this game is really fun. We both did. We both really enjoyed it. We had a good barrel of laughs, especially with how goofy and clunky the game is. I think that's the beauty of it all. But, we're just voicing the fact that maybe, I wish there was another component. There was weapons, but that kind of just, I could shoot you from afar, or I can stab you closer, or something like that.
But then you also have the problem where if you have a weapon, let's say back to the stun lock.
Yeah,
the weapon is going to be obsolete if somebody can just get you in place and you can't do anything about it.
Certain characters can actually stack abilities. You know how you have an ability for each left foot, right foot input, and everything? For a certain character, he has a blaster, right? And for that blaster, he can, he has them on both arms. So you can actually Q both of them at the same time, and it could, quarter your health immediately if it hits. And you can't do anything to deflect it.
Especially if you're overheated.
That brings me next to the next point. I can't tell if each character has a different overheat bar.
How long they're overheated for?
Yeah, not even that. Just how much it spends for them to move. Because I feel like I can boost a lot more and quicker with certain characters that are smaller than the ones that are bigger, which makes sense. But that means that would be a very big variable in the battling whole point of it all, right? That means if I play the really small frog, right, I'd be able to boost and dodge more than the big beefy.
So you're able to evade more and not get hit.
Yeah, Meta Gekon or whatever Godzilla Mech it looks
like. The dragon one?
Yeah, the dragon one. Well, that is really cool. I really wish they made that more clear, because I think I just kind of noticed it, if it is a thing, you can go look it up if you want to right now while I keep talking. I think the whole point is the game's really fun. They nail it when it comes to the maps. All of it being indestructible, right? You can destroy it all.
Metagekron.
Yeah, there you go. He's you know what's stupid too? You always had trouble dealing with other people when you played against him, because his ultimate, it's a specific. Unless if I'm right in front of you, you don't hit me.
Yeah, you have to get close and personal, and that's when they can also stun lock you.
Right, they can stun.
It's a lot about stunning.
It's either about stunning, or they could literally just dash out of the way before you do it. Especially because the screen tells you when you have your ult.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I was able to easily invade you, which wasn't, terrible. But that means you waste your entire ult, which kind of sucked. Once you know each character's ult, it was very, very easy to tell who did what. I played Contessa a lot, which Contessa was kind of the witch lady. She was, in my opinion, one of my favorite characters to play, but I thought she was very overpowered.
I mean, you got to think though, I played Crystal a tiny bit.
Yeah, which she was very versatile as well. She had magic attacks that were very ranged, from what I remember.
But then you also have it up close and personal, and it freezes them.
Right.
With your leg abilities.
Ice Ray. Contessa had multiple abilities. I'm gonna see if I can name them all. She had an ability that can stop you from using your ult and your own abilities if it hits you, and it homes on you, so you literally can't do anything other than attack and defend. Which is a really good ability, especially if you're coming in for the kill and they're about to use their ult, just pew,
it's kind of broken though, because if you can hit it every time, you're almost guaranteed.
It just homes. It just gets you.
So you kind of just have to run away.
You kind of have to run away. There's no debuff towards Contessa when she does that.
Nope.
She stands still while she like spins it out. So I guess for that time you can close in and quickly, try queuing up your ult depending on what character you are. But that also depends on what character you are. Then we go to her other ability. She teleports behind you, no matter where you are, from what I could tell. Or if she can see you, so across the map. But she's also still for that, so it's kind of like she kind of just stands there.
A lot of it's still, but if you get it down and get good at it,
right?
It doesn't matter where you're at or how still you are.
Also, if you're a slower character,
exactly,
you can't really do much. If you're a quick character, you can get out of the way.
Like Kokata.
Yeah. There was a lot of times where I would just teleport behind you and you were playing the Mecha Gekon and you were just like, oh shoot, like I can't really do much.
No.
And you would just back up. A lot of your attacks were either swipes or the roll, which the roll was good, but it was so hard to control.
The roll's turn radius is very long too. It's not like you have sharp movements with it. You kind of have to plan it out. Which I understand.
It did good damage.
It does good damage, but it's not like you're going to hit it every time.
Yeah,
and you can also evade out of it.
Right.
Or just fly up. Or jump up.
Yeah, which is completely fine. What was the other thing? That's kind of his one ability, though, that has it going for him. Well, Contessa has an ability that could literally lock you from your own and your ult, an ability that she can throw an orb that makes it a radius of burning fire, which does constant damage if you're in it. She can teleport behind you, and I'm trying to remember the other one.
Long story short, it's just broken.
And then her ult is pretty good. You have to time it though. Her ult is like
most of the ults are timing based. Besides, I can't remember the character, but with the hammer. Is it Crystal?
I think it's Crystal, because doesn't she just spin?
Just spin with the hammer, and if you get them in the lock, then
it's pretty difficult to get out.
What I do like is
if you use all of your boosts, but then you're literally overheated, and then it's just like, oh no.
I like Vidar's his arrow.
Oh, he shoots
the arrow, and that's good and all, but at the same time, his ult is very easy to get out of.
It's very easy to get out of.
Because it's raining arrows, and it gives you the radius of what it is.
So I think the reason why his kit is good, and some people are like, oh, his ult, like we were just saying, his ult's really easy to get out of. He has an ability where he literally puts a trap down, which the arrow storm does a lot of damage.
It does.
It lasts for a good amount of time. It could probably lower half your health.
But you have to keep them in there.
You have to keep them in there. But in doing so, the trap would put them in there enough time. So what you would do is you would be battling someone. You would set up a trap strategically, and once they fall into it, just immediately put your ult down. Because
that's saying that they can fall into the trap.
That says they have 2 skill points. You need a skill point to use your ult.
Oh yeah.
So that means you need 2 skill points at least, which some other characters could, win off that, because certain characters could literally kill you in 2 skills. Let's do Contessa for an example. Contessa could literally lock your abilities and then swipe you. Also, Contessa has range. Did you notice that? Her claws go further. Especially when I charge it, you can't tell if I'm going to the left or right.
No, you can't.
I just spin. And that's why she's one of the scariest ones in the world. Shifu, which I was going to talk about, is also a character you kind of need to link your abilities with. And while doing so, Shifu you'd pull him, right? And while pulling your character, it's one of his abilities where he pulls to you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do it while they're on ground, not in air, because they just pull them over you and just zoom or somewhere. While they're on ground, you would pull them near you and then use the ability because it actually has a queue time for you to hit it. If you do, it does a decent amount of damage. Something I've also noticed is that you can't get health back.
No, you cannot. And that's kind of...
There's nothing for a damaged player. I don't think you get the only thing you get is your ult, which for some doesn't matter. It's like, some are cool, some are really cool, but some of them would do like an inch of damage, and it's like, oh no. Anyways,
and plus, if you're low health and that's your last resort,
you're
not going to get anywhere.
It kind of sucks.
There's a few times I played against you, and that was my last resort.
Right.
It did nothing for me.
I really wish there was a passive, like, gain in the ult.
Like, what if there's a passive heal where if you stood still, it would heal you?
Yeah, like,
so that would encourage pushing and not just long range.
It's either that, or you would, or even better, without even, like, let's keep the no health rule, right? Like, we don't get more health. You would get skills faster than the person who isn't damaged. So you could actually throw out more than the other person could. So that means that they can still kill you while doing so, or you would get the other person at an even playing field.
Okay, but what if we do that and it's like Katessa, for instance?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was going to mention that. It wouldn't really... For some matchups, it would be great, but then that would mean for skill... What about overheat? But then, if you're a small character and you're low health, you could just zip around the map and be untouchable until someone uses a ranged weapon on you, which only some characters have.
Some characters are close and personal, and then that's never a good thing against ranged characters. Because if you can get in close, then you're in the green. But that's saying that you can get in.
Right.
Because if you're ranged characters, you can just keep them back, keep them at bay, and it's harder to attack sometimes. But I want to get into the final point of this game review of how many different characters there are and how different everything is. I'd say overall that it is a great game.
It was a great amount of fun, especially. Like, we may talk about it maybe in a bad light, but there's a lot of good things. Like, the game itself is fun.
It runs good too.
It runs great.
And it's very cheap to buy. It's a very fun game. Characters are great.
I think it's overall like $15 to $20 maybe. It's still fun. Get it on a Steam sale, especially. That's what I did. I still don't regret it to this day. We talk about DLC characters, but long story short, they're all really unique. Like, Maestro has an entire build where he uses certain notes and whatnot. Anywho,
thank you everybody who joined in today on this game review of Override.
This we made the video a bit long, where this is our first time doing these things. So nice for anyone to join us, whoever listens to us.
Anyways, this has been the NewsPaperLads. We'll see you in the next one.